Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network. For the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews, press 1. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Congratulations. On behalf of the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, and the Schmoes Know, you are now a member of the Jedi Alliance. May the Force be with you, always.
Welcome to Jedi Alliance episode 49, a celebration of the greatest saga ever told. I'm Ken Napzok, bringing you this show for the final time. It is a bittersweet journey on out of here. I've had a great year presenting this show with you, along with many of my favorite people, and they are all here today. All the ones I could fit into the studio. I have Mark Reilly of Schmoes Know and Meet the Movie Press and other fine things.
Yes, hello, Ken.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
I'm so sorry to see you go. This is my favorite Star Wars podcast.
Really?
I always say that.
Even over other choices you may have?
Yeah, I always listen to it. Even if I'm not on, I'll listen to it. When I'm on, I don't need to listen to my voice again. So
it's a pretty voice.
I'm going to follow, though, the Jedi Alliance as it keeps going.
Absolutely. It will go on. And Joseph Scrimshaw is back.
Yay!
Yay! You and your sad Lobots have returned.
Yeah, I always bring the spirit of Zed Lobot with me.
With your elegant Rebel Alliance shirt on today.
Thank you.
Joseph Alvarez is returning. The sweet, sexy voice, the sexiest voice in the galaxy next to Lando.
What do we have here?
Yeah, you are back by my own popular demand and the audience's popular demand. Every time you come on, you make a good impression and impact with the fans, man.
Truly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And glad to have you on. And then on the couch, because we have so many people here today, you may see, wait a minute, I know you. You?
Who is that?
You created this show with me.
Yeah.
You're Maud Garrett.
Hi.
Maud Garrett.
I'm back.
You are you're a special guest today. I was not expecting you coming in the last minute last night. You were like, guess what? I can do it. And it's so apropos because you and I created this fine show after we were given it, and you and I had a lot of fun doing it, and then
nearly a year.
Nearly
a whole year this show was on.
Remember we were standing at Comic-Con 2014 watching those Star Wars burlesque dancers, and we were like, hey,
good times.
That's how can I forget that? That was nice.
Yeah, in 2 weeks.
Empire strips back. Yeah.
And of course, Maud has left on to do wonderful, marvelous things, and you're currently now over at SourceFed, where you are making quite an impact. And I saw you got a Star Wars gift the other day that, shocker, made you cry. Will probably make you cry now.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
A fan, his name's Austin, he sent me Darth Vader's master replica lightsaber.
Oh, cool.
And I did not expect it, and I didn't know it was coming, and I've been looking for it. Remember I was at Celebration, and all I wanted was Darth Vader's saber, and it was nowhere, and everyone's like, get over that idea, you won't ever find one. I got one. And also shout out to Shane Ashby, who the week before sent me Han Solo's replica blaster.
What?
And so I sat there in the office with my Vader saber and my blaster, and I was like, I remember that. Anyway,
See,
best times ever.
I get cool gifts too, though. I got this gift today. It is a special edition cover of the Darth Vader issue 1, signed by David Prowse to me. It even has his watermark. It was given to me by the man next to you on the couch, one of my favorite guests, Frankie Kazarian.
Always has the best
Always buying a spot on the show.
You're doing well, Frankie. It is you've been such a wonderful contributor to this show. I appreciate getting to kind of know you again for the first time, really, through this show, and seeing your love of Star Wars come through. You are known for professional wrestling, but I want people to know you more for your love of this
Professional Star Wars fan.
Yes,
and that hurts a lot less.
Your shirt, Rebel.
Oh yeah,
Rebel.
Always.
That's a double meaning.
Double meaning.
As we know.
It's my son's name, so I have Rebel everywhere on me, and it means something special.
Love it.
More ways than one. Like I said earlier, this is an all-star panel and me, so I'm psyched. I'm psyched.
So I got the gang all here, and this final show, we just going to have some fun. Breaking down, talking, sweating in the heat here at the, I'm sweating like Farley again.
I told you to get some drinks in there.
That would have made it worse, Joseph. Would have made it worse. We've been having a lot of fun on the show the last couple of weeks, talking about bonus questions. As you know, Maud and I had always asked people the 5 most important Star Wars questions, which I remember it took us a long time to come up with those.
I've changed my last answer.
What is it?
Would I turn to the dark side?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I would.
What happened?
I am no longer a Jedi. I've changed paths. I feel the power and the anger, and I'm all about it.
Was it the lightsaber?
Yes, that's all it took. I fired that thing up and I was like, good.
She got seduced. She was seduced.
I was.
Yeah, just a year of life broke you.
She got seduced.
You were seduced by the dark side. Wow, I don't know. That kind of shakes me a little bit, Marty.
Sorry.
Kind of shakes me to my core. Yeah, would you shave your head like Asajj Ventress?
Well, I do have one of her lightsabers, but she has two.
Yeah.
So, but I need to read what happens in this book, this upcoming canon book.
I'm
she may not be on the dark side at all anymore.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell. I'm 20 pages away from finishing it.
Oh.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. Dark Disciple is by Christy Golden, I believe, is very, very good.
Okay.
It's very great in parts, and it's very okay in some parts, only because it was a treatment. She kind of had explode into a novel that was going to be from the episodes of Clone Wars. But there's some really good stuff in there between Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos, and even Dooku. There's some good Dooku stuff.
Dooku.
Well, they have to.
That was good.
I love good Dooku.
I don't like bad Dooku, yeah.
So it's good. Well, that's all right. All right. Well, over the last few months, we've added some questions, and fans are always writing in. So we've kind of been having fun, having what we call bonus questions that dive a little deeper. And I get to ask everyone here on the panel what it is, and then we can have some fun with our answers. All right. So the first question up is, what is your favorite Star Wars creature? It can be anything that what I consider a creature is not an alien, but like an actual creature. Scrimshaw.
Yeah, it's because I'm not going to say prune face because he's
a character.
He's an alien. He's a character. He's Ori Marco. He has a
wondering
family.
If we could get prune face into the conversation again.
Oh, many times in the next hour.
Yeah, good.
I would say the Dianoga, the creature in the trash compactor.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Because that's, it's got a great name. It's fun to say. Fun to say Dianoga. Sounds like maybe a medical condition.
It's also fun to know it. It's one of those names, if you know what the Dianoga is.
It's hard not to say it without pushing up your mime glasses. The Dianoga. Actually.
I feel like I learnt Dianoga in algebra in like the 11th grade.
Trigonometry.
Yeah. But it's also just fun to imagine its ecosystem of like, it just has to wait for jerks to fall into the trash compactor to feed.
That's true. How did that thing survive that long? Unless it ate metal or just refuse.
Or the Emperor is just so committed to making every room in the Death Star evil. There's random little monsters and creatures in like every room. In the bathrooms, the meeting rooms.
And how did it get? Did it get there and grow? Did it start as like an amoeba, and do you think it turned into a monster?
Yeah, I think maybe like giant trash bacteria. Let's say. Yeah.
I thought somebody threw it away previously.
Oh.
That's a good theory.
Yeah.
Threw it away previously, and it just lived there.
Yeah.
It just went from dumpster to dumpster.
That's irresponsible.
Yeah.
Just find a monster on the Death Star and throw it in the trash.
That's
kind of ecosystem they have.
That's the canon web series I want to see. Is the monster kind of arriving at the Death Star? Some kind of little horror web series.
Yeah.
Maybe it feeds on dad jokes, and as soon as like one thing's for certain, we're going to be a whole lot thinner. It's like and evolves. It's like bad jokes. Yes.
I accept that theory as truth.
That's good.
It's canon. Joseph Alvarez.
Okay, then we got to change now. So it's not alien, but creature. So we had to change it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had to change it up because the alien would have been Ewok. So I was like, okay, so that's an alien, right?
Okay.
So,
well, technically.
And I thought it would be cool to see, if you ever see an Ewok, go to Jedi Academy. That would be kind of cool to see a Jedi Ewok.
Ooh.
In Knights of the Old Republic, is there an Ewok character that helps along the way? Is that a game? What am I thinking of?
Jedi Academy?
Did you have a dream, Ken?
In Knights of the Old Republic at all?
No.
You go to Kashyyyk, there's a whole thing about the Wookiees, but there is not really
it would be
an
a
Ewok.
funny sight to see an Ewok Jedi, and he'll be so cool though.
What about an Ewok Sith?
Ewok Sith.
That's something.
My favorite creature is the one Luke encountered. Isn't that right there?
The Wampa.
Right.
Wampa.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wampa is my answer, too. I've become obsessed with the Wampa over the years. My fantasy baseball team is called the Stompin' Wampas.
The Stompin' Wampas.
It is, the Wampas has grown for me. I don't know what it is about the Wampa. It's this lonely, mean creature living in a cave. And I know
minding his own business.
Yeah, he's just doing what he does.
And eats people.
And there's other ones there, and the rebels come, and then the rebels have to get mad at them because they're killing Tauntaun and stuff, and I don't know.
No, but that scene was very scary to me. I remember watching it. So
absolutely.
I love that scene.
As a kid, when I'd rewatch Empire and knowing it was coming, it was kind of like Large Marge and Pee-wee's Big Adventure, where it's like, I can't...
But wait a minute, wasn't it like the ultimate pimp slap that Luke got, right? He's like,
across the face. It was ferocious.
Stop whining.
Frankie, let's go to you.
Oh, my favorite creature happens to be the prey of your favorite creature. I am a fan of the Tauntaun.
You like the Tauntaun?
Yes. I was always fascinated just by their movement, and they always looked real friendly, and I was like, I wanted one.
Yeah, you wanted to wear one?
I just wanted to pet one.
Well, that's just it. It could be a good pet. It could get me from A to B, and if I was ever stranded, I could kill it, cut it open, and sleep in it. Like that's
it's the Swiss Army knife of creatures.
Right, absolutely. And they always appeared so friendly, and like they wouldn't,
Yeah.
I
know someone who, I hope I'm not spoiling it for him, but they're like working on a patent to have like a Wampa sleeping bag.
Or Tauntaun
sleeping bag.
I think it already exists.
Yeah. I think it was one of Geek's early jokes that
it was a joke.
You can't make joke Star Wars products because people will just say, I want that no matter what.
Mark Reilly?
I'm kind of in the Wampa camp, but since there's already two answers, I'm going to go Sarlacc pit. Favorite monster. If we could do the non-special edition, I hated it when they added
the little
head.
shop of horse.
I thought it was so much cooler and creepier where it was just the gaping maw, that was just there, that you would fall into and it'd be
so
digested.
much Freudian analysis to do on your preference.
I know, man, but
I went that on purpose.
Everybody compared it to something else, but it's all right.
Much like Needham.
Yeah.
Marty?
My favorite creature I want to do by default, and this has nothing to do with the Star Wars universe, except a quote that was birthed in Jedi Alliance and has consistently lived with me ever since. I've recently acquired a sweater of a little kitten with Sith powers. Sith pussy.
So it is literally...
That's some
Sith
bad
pussy is happening, and it was as a joke initially, but I've discovered that it's the best tongue twister ever.
Yeah.
You cannot say it 5 times in a row fast.
Sith pussy.
Fast.
Sith
Fast.
pussy.
Sith pussy, Sith pussy, Sith pussy, Sith pussy, Sith pussy.
So technically that is my creature that I love the most, but I'm going to go Minoc, only because it doesn't live on a planet. It lives inside a beast that happens to live in a crevice on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, it's a flying animal within, and they have swarms of them.
Chews on power cables.
How? If it's inside an animal, which is technically like a not an artificial place, but it feeds on electricity.
Inside an animal, inside an asteroid.
Yeah.
Even
That's a lot of stuff. And the Minocs are kind of like the probiotic cultures of yogurt, I think. They're like down there living and eating on things there. Those are some good answers to start us off here. Now, this one, I'm going to go quick around the room because I hid it from you all, and I just want to test your prequel knowledge. We'll start with Reilly, Scrimshaw, Alvarez, Kazarian. We'll close with Marty. Okay. Answer quickly. Who was Padme's head of security first? Captain Panaka or Captain Typho?
Panaka.
I want to say Typho just because he's played by Jay Lagaya, who's Australian, and I'm biased.
But it's Panaka.
But the real winner
is Panaka.
Is when you're Australian.
We'll take that.
Hey!
The prequels had a lot of Australians in them, though, right? I mean,
Well, he was made in Sydney.
Yeah. So there was all the way through it, exsters and
You just
support
see
players.
the AD's like, "Oi, you! What are you doing tomorrow? Yeah, come on by."
And why didn't you? That would have been perfect for you. Like
I was like 11.
Yeah, that's fine. You could have been like.
I could have been little Annie's friend.
Yeah, you would have been
on Tatooine.
better than the one who had the braces. And was like, come on, Annie, let's go play ball.
Keister, I think his name was.
On my speed pod.
Yeah.
Kidster, yeah.
Kidster.
Little jerk.
That is Wizard, Annie. Wizard. All right, y'all did good on that. You know a lot about the prequels, more than you think you know. This one opens up some deeper. You got to kind of you can think outside the box on this one. Favorite second in command character not named Vader.
Okay.
All right. Second in command character not named Vader. Frankie.
Chewbacca.
Dang it.
You're saying he's in command, though. Okay. I like it.
He's the co-pilot, so if something were to happen to Han, he would take over
second command of the Falcon. Right.
And who doesn't like Chewie? I mean,
absolutely,
he's awesome. So
we got our own Chewie here.
Yeah.
Did Chewbacca ever get rank? Why was he never awarded any rank?
Anything.
Didn't get a medal.
He didn't get a
I've
knowledge.
never understood that.
He did get a medal.
Did he?
At the end of New Hope.
Well, no, they didn't give him a medal.
He didn't get a medal.
He just
No.
He was just standing.
all
Yeah.
he got was the last line of the movie.
He was a wingman,
Yeah.
which makes
Right.
him the best second in
Command.
command.
All right. So you're going with that too, Joseph?
Yeah.
You going Chewie? I like that answer. No?
I had a slash on there.
Okay.
It was Chewie / Lando.
Lando.
Did you mean that as slash, like slash fiction? Or?
No. Just in case Chewie wasn't available, he's not.
So you're going
He's
Lando.
not eligible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hit me. It's well known that I love Lando. The Lando comic is starting out strong.
Yeah, the original captain of the Millennium Falcon, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Or at least the one before Han. Who knows where Lando got it from? Maybe that will soon be revealed.
Exactly.
So you're going Lando. Marty, who do you have? Your favorite second in command character?
They're all kind of evil. I really had a newfound respect for Tarkin after reading the book, and I kind of loved his rise to power under, like, with the leadership side instead of the Sith side under the Emperor. Saying that, though, I take it down a step with Dooku, and you've got Asajj Ventress and Darth Maul, and I kind of think that those two coming up into power as well, but never being able to supersede their leader, their master, is still a great story.
I like that.
The Sith, the Master and the Apprentice with the Sith is always fascinating to me.
You were really fascinated with Sith now.
Yeah.
You're really...
Things have
I'm
changed.
just a little Sith kitten right now.
Seem to be the Sith cats.
Sith
Maul
kitten.
and
Much easier. Sith kitten is much easier and family friendly.
Mark Reilly?
I was going all Empire for the way that was phrased. So Piet.
Oh,
I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, Admiral Piet.
Yeah.
You know, he
Captain
hangs in
turned
there,
Admiral.
Yeah, he hangs in there strong, Empire, and then puts up a good fight in Jedi, but we know what
He
happened
dies.
there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's a good answer, though. That's a very good answer.
Yeah.
Darth Maul was like the coolest design, though.
Yeah.
Coolest design.
I almost just, I was going with Darth Maul. I like your
Dathomirians are just, I mean, exploring them in the Clone Wars is really fascinating as well.
Savage Opress is his brother.
Oh, yeah.
Savage Opress, yeah.
Yeah, and you got to admire him just for the work to not pronounce it savage. I mean, he put his back into Savage. Let's pronounce that right.
Joseph, who do you have second in command?
I was going to say, I like Piet, but I went with Mace Windu. Because he is sort of second in command of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And I like his character. I wish it had been explored a little bit more. I love his character in Clone Wars, that he is just cranky and angry and sort of like as cranky as a Jedi can get without being actually evil.
Yeah.
And
so let me get this straight. He's number 2 to Yoga.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Okay.
Yeah. I think in general that would be... And in Dark Disciple... Cranky Mace is a very key part of the story. There's a lot of stuff that Mace Windu does. He is kind of the one who's like, he's not happy with some things, and he's not afraid to say it. And so you're right.
He's the one who just says nope to Anakin being trained. Nope. He just drops that. And then also, he could have taken out Jango lots of ways, but he's like, you know what? Let's just get rid of his head.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be a problem down the line.
Did he even crack a smile?
No.
Not even remotely, did he?
I think in his eyes once.
He
There's
smiles.
a little smile in his eyes.
He has kind eyes, yeah.
I've been doing a lot of this is rolling up the sleeves here. Been doing a little bit of research into the types of fighting styles.
Of a pod?
Yes.
Yeah.
How Mace Windu kind of elaborated on the 7th style of lightsaber fighting, and basically he decided that the way to, instead of like kind of focusing on the emotional traits that are within the Jedi, you actually act as a conduit for the Sith's angry and emotions. So basically when they're like hatred and anger and suffering, he kind of absorbs it and pushes it back onto them.
Ooh.
And that's the style.
I dig that.
Wow.
Apparently he was still working on it.
Well, he beats Palpatine, and I think it's because, if you want to go super deep, it's because, he understands their fighting style better.
I made the Emperor.
Yeah.
That's the hatred and the suffering.
Thank you.
But I'm glad you're there with me, Joseph.
No.
Yes, the anti-facelift, hatred and suffering.
Yeah.
Pod.
One last stab at me before I kick the bucket.
I like that. Well, my answer is simply Logray, the Ewok medicine.
Wow.
Who was the real power behind Chief Chirpa, I ask you? It is Logray.
See, we're going back to the Ewoks again. Man.
That's right. In honor of one of our former guests, Jennifer Landa, and her love of Ewoks, Logray is the one who, he just wasn't going to have it. When C-3PO and Princess Leia came out and were like, hey, these are our friends, he was like, no. Season. And they started killing Han, and Logray was the one who he's whispering in the ears of Chirpa, and he's like Grima Wormtongue. He's just with an actual backbone. So,
or he was just hungry.
Could have been. He could have been like, nah.
Gotta feed the people.
Let's eat first, then we'll join them.
Very good meat there.
You're killing one of our guys. It's all right. He's a sassy one. So Logray gets my vote. Question number 4. Will Han and Leia still be together by the time The Force Awakens begins? So at the beginning of the movie, are they together? Are they together? Scrimshaw?
Oh, I really hope so. Because I don't want to start the movie with that baggage. I feel like they already have like enough to figure out, to tell the audience quickly and easily about what's been going on. I've said on this podcast I'm worried about our heroes seeming like they just weren't very effective since the Empire just got a different name, but it appears to have just risen again, and they're like, oh, darn it, we just weren't paying attention.
They even have the same stormtrooper outfits.
Yeah, they got the same wall design on the Death Star or whatever base they're in. So I really hope that there's a hint of tension or a hint of what their relationship has been.
Yeah.
But I hope they're together.
Okay. Reilly, I know it's close to your heart.
Yeah, I hope they're together. But it makes me wonder what the divorce rate is in a galaxy far, far away. Is it like 50%, like it is here in the States? Or, but no, I'm with you, Joseph. I love that. You don't. I just want them together. I don't want it to be just something that.
You don't want it to be dark.
Yeah, I guess. I would love to see, happy Han and Leia running the.
I would be happy to see them have like bitter banter.
Yeah,
sure. I would expect that. Yeah, a married couple of 30 years.
It's going to be the "I love you," and instead of just "I know," it's going to be "I know." It's like, you should have that attitude.
I know. Frankie,
I hope so as well, but I'm gonna say no. I'll go out on a limb. Just something tells me that we're gonna find all the heroes from the original trilogy kind of spread out.
Yeah.
And there's going to be perhaps something that brings them back together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I get the sense that that's going to happen. I hope. I'm a fan of the and happily ever after. Yeah, absolutely. And Han and Leia, they should be together, but something tells me everyone's going to be kind of spread out. There's going to be something that happens that reunites our heroes that we all know and love, and that is the Force Awakens.
Not being too deep in any spoilers, but just going based on the trailers. Yeah, you kind of get that sense that Han saying we're home means something even more than just the Falcon.
Exactly.
So I even though specifically I think it was referring to the Falcon in that shot, as far as we know. So I kind of agree with you there. Marty, what does your heart tell you?
I reckon they are split up, but I think it's Leia having to make a choice. I think she has a political rise and she has a decision that she needs to make, and that is to put the Republic or the new whatever they're calling it, back together, and to be a crucial member, a part of the diplomatic succession, or be a rascal and a scoundrel with her man. And I think she was just like, you know what, I love you, but I can't continue to be with you. That's what I think. And I don't trust anything anymore because in the comic books, it is now canon that Han Solo was originally married during A New Hope.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Is that still legit? Is that still
that's canon?
They haven't.
It's brand new.
They haven't. The next issue hasn't come out.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
It's a big issue. Sana Solo is her name. So I
don't like that.
I don't like that at all, and I still think she's claiming versus actually being it, but there's something there. And I like the theory that Mike Beatrice came on this show and said that maybe Sana Solo, or whatever her name was before she took on Solo, was maybe Lando Calrissian's girlfriend, and maybe some bad things happen, and that's why Lando and Han don't really get along, why Lando says you have a lot of nerve coming back here after what you pulled. I still think you could see something related to that, and maybe all this factors together.
There is a line.
There's a line. I think, for my take, I think at the beginning of this movie they won't be together. I'm playing on words a little bit. Are they still maybe in a married sense together? Maybe, but I, like you, Frankie, I kind of think we're going to have the team all back together, but starting separate. And I agree with you, Maud. I think it's a great point. I think Leia's gone on to a position of great importance, and tough choices had to be made, and maybe your scoundrel husband who
bad for PR,
maybe PR, or just he wanted to go down to the bar with Chewie one too many times, or something like that.
But you know what? Chewie and Han are still together.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad. I mean, that was part of the emotional core of that scene in the trailer that made me cry on the 15 freeway leaving
Bros
Vegas.
before hoes is
maybe he held to that, and Leia was like, I don't hold to that. I don't hold to that.
It's relevant in every galaxy. And
Chewie has a wife too, so we'll see if Mala Tobak shows up.
It's a bit rich calling Leia a hoe when Han's the one that's been cheating.
I'm still not going to let that go.
I still think Sana Solo's, she's claiming things.
Insana Solo?
Insana Solo. I think she's just like, she's kind of like Laura Flynn Boyle from Wayne's World. Just like, you know, like, hi Wayne, like, hi Han. We'll see. Or Han is the scoundrel that we all didn't want him to be. If you could have one job in the Star Wars universe, what would it be, Joseph Alvarez?
I would be a club owner. I'll be a club owner.
On what planet?
But that would be a front for me being a smuggler.
Oh,
brilliant! I like that.
It's very well played, sir. What kind of club? Like we're talking like the bar in Coruscant, where I can buy some death sticks or cantina.
You don't want to buy any death sticks.
No, it'll be more like
I do not want to buy any death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
But we have to call it Cloud City.
You want to? You call it Cloud City,
exactly.
not on Cloud
it's
City.
Not on Cloud City. No, that's too much insurance involved with being on Cloud City.
Does it have a Cloud City theme like the actual bar?
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
So we
I'd like that bar in real life. Do you want to open that in real life?
Partner up right there.
But really, you're a smuggler. I like that.
Exactly.
I like that. That fits. Joseph, if you don't want to open up his bar with him.
I want to do comedy at his club. I'm insulted as a comedian that we see a lot of the entertainment industry in the Star Wars universe, and it's all music. It's like the Emperor got control. It's like, comedians must die. He just killed all the comedians. Just music from here on out. It's offensive.
If Sice Noodles did a tight 7-minute set, maybe that would have made you happy.
Oh, God, that would be so much better than the Jedi Rock song. Just Sice Noodles stand-up.
4. Let me tell you a joke. Mark Reilly?
I want to be a Rancor keeper.
Ooh.
Oh,
shirt off, shirt on.
Shirt off. I mean, that's the in the job description. Shirt off, emotional, good with animals, and can answer to a big fat boss when you need to.
Okay. So, I like that. Frankie?
Well, going with the theme that was said earlier, I would play bass guitar in one of the Cantina bar bands. Probably I would become a jizz whaler with Frigrin Dan and the Model Nodes. I think I could have a good, steady career as a journeyman bass guitarist and perhaps get booked in your club.
Oh, yeah. And, I'll put you at the door.
Perhaps open up for you before you do
absolutely.
comedy.
Yeah.
You know.
You can do some little bass noodling in the background of the comedy. That'd be great.
Absolutely. I think the opportunity for employment would be never ending.
It's pretty steady.
So, absolutely.
And you'd be on the fun planets.
It'd be fun, yeah.
You'd be in the fun bars. You'd
do a tour of Tatooine, then do a tour of Coruscant. It'd be cool.
Now, see, but you'll be a bass player by night, but he's an assassin by day.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Bass player by night and assassin by day.
That's
you don't see it coming during the day.
That's a given, yeah. That's a given.
Maud, what kind of job would you have?
When I was doing the D6 Star Wars tabletop game, I had to create my own character, and I was stuck between two. One of them I wanted to be a pilot in the Empire that was actually smuggling plans over to the rebels, so I was a double agent.
Nice.
Or then I kind of was like, no, it'd be really cool being like a famous pod racer.
Oh, yeah.
So
kind of like the NASCAR of the day, of the galaxy.
I think I'd kind of like that.
You could take on Ben Quadraneros.
I could try. I have a feeling I'd be like kind of untapped force that I didn't really know I had, which is why I could do pod racing, but at the same time I was drunk half the time, so it's just a fluke.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's a new fighting style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Drunk pod racing.
For me, I was trying to choose whatever that guy who's running on Cloud City with the ice cream maker that he's like running out.
Oh my God.
I kind of want that guy.
Yeah, he's like looking around.
I chose a picture of Dex from Attack of the Clones, the one who gives Obi-Wan some advice about street knowledge. I think I'd own a little diner. I just own a little diner where you can come hang out
and sell information.
Sell information, since everyone seems to have a bigger cause that
make swamas.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like sell you a cup of Java juice or whatever that droid waitress is trying to get Obi-Wan to drink.
Yeah, so gross. Java juice. So gross. What is it?
What is
it made of Jawas?
We're going to talk about plot holes later, but that's a plot hole I want to know. You want a cup of Jawa juice?
No.
That's okay.
No, poor everyone on Tatooine looking at them, thinking about that's what Jawa juice is?
Yeah,
I hadn't known.
That's what it is. All right, so I mentioned Attack of the Clones. So this is one of the most important questions I can ask you guys. Name me the one prequel scene you think nailed it. Giving you a moment to think.
Can we play Duel of the Fates?
We'll get some duel going on there. We will.
Mud is about to erupt. For those who can't see, there she goes.
For old time's sake, Marty.
This is what was perfect in the prequels, though. Do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, I can think of a few changes, where Darth Maul doesn't get killed and actually chases them throughout the prequels.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying not to jump all over this, so
is that what you're going? You're just going with that fight scene, or just the song and death?
The fact that they enhanced the choreography, because George Lucas was saying that this is the first time that you wanted to see a Jedi in his prime fighting, and that it's not just
True that.
And like the jumping styles and actually using force powers with their fighting style. Well, that was great. And just the fact that this is the first time that we saw a different type of lightsaber.
Right.
And that Darth Maul decided to build his... And when he pressed the first one and then activated the second saber, that was perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say they nailed that.
I think that's a great answer.
And this song. I don't know
Absolutely.
if you guys know.
And the composition, too. Nailed the composition with that. Yeah.
Absolutely. It worked. It definitely worked. Joseph Alvarez, where do you go?
No, Maud had some great points with that. And as far as like the whole... Thank you very much. Like, as far as like the... just to piggyback on that, the last duel of the prequels.
Okay.
On the volcanic. Mustafar. And to that last duel, which is like the last time they saw each other.
Yeah.
As brothers. And so it got a little. It had the fighting, and then it had the melodrama as well. So,
absolutely. You were the chosen one.
I loved you like a brother. And then somebody hates you when they're on fire. They're not even asking to put me out. They're like, I hate you. My ass is on fire. That's all I can say.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Frankie, what do you go with?
Exactly what he was just saying. The scene where he basically gets chopped in half and he's on fire. And I think that's some of the most spirited acting that we've seen from Hayden in the entire both movies.
Actually, that was
that emotion and the anger, like that. We'd all heard about this fight that happened on a volcanic planet, and that actual scene of him burning up, I thought was brilliant. I thought it was awesome. It was like, wow, that's it.
And his focus is on somebody he hates.
Yeah, exactly. It was just he's saying I love you, and he's saying I hate you. It was. I thought that was cool.
You had water with tears from Obi-Wan. You had flames.
That very moment was, I think, really powerful. Though it's hard to argue with anything she said, because Darth Maul, arguably the coolest character that got killed off way too soon. Absolutely, but so all of those, all of the above.
Good stuff so far, Reilly. I'm going to make you answer.
Yeah, I'm going to go with R2-D2's introduction in Phantom Menace. I think
cool. That's very not talked about often. That's a good one.
I adore it. I know it's a little bit obvious. You have the droids go out, and of course R2 is going to be the last one because he's R2-D2. But it held true to what he was established in the original trilogy. R2 was always there to save the day. He saved the day in Cloud City by figuring out to open the door and then doing the smoke screen so they could get out of there. How many times has he fixed the Millennium Falcon?
Times.
So again, perfect. He goes out there and fixes the so they can break through the what do you call it? The Trade Federation.
The blockade.
I want to one up that one and pay kudos to R2-D2 in Revenge of the Sith for being the comedic relief as well. Sure. He was actually a funny character that didn't say a word. So that beginning of the
You have your R2 shirt on too. I didn't look at that. Look at that. Good stuff.
Well, we gave him kudos earlier.
At our lunch we were talking about how he pretty much he's the guy. He's Luke's number one, number two. Number one, number two.
Can I change my answer? R2 is the best number two?
You can. Okay. You can. Joseph Scrimshaw, your episode of defending the prequels was one of the more popular ones during my tenure here. So you got a lot of answers.
Yeah,
what's the one that works?
I think my favorite scene is Palpatine and Anakin at the opera. I mean, I think that is by far the best acted scene. I think so. I think it lays out things in a really well done way. I think the writing in that scene is the best writing in the prequel, and I think both Hayden and Ian McDiarmid play it beautifully, and it also taps into like deep, interesting stuff about Star Wars lore that we've always wondered. That idea that is he lying, or there's so many things in there that he just drops bomb after bomb of like, by the way, I might have born you through the Force with my mind. Just maybe.
Might have been.
And maybe the Force is utterly unlimited if you are willing to do all these horrible, unnatural things, and just that great button of not from a Jedi. And and it is the moment I think gets a little twisted with Anakin's turn for darkness, but in that moment you can see of like, are you willing to do something that all of the adults around you, the Jedi, tell you shouldn't do in order to save the woman you love, the person you love? Yeah.
That's my answer as well. It's a scene. It has a darkness to it. It has, it's one of the only times where you can, it makes sense that Anakin's going to turn. We talk about his turn happens so fast and seems rushed at times in Sith, and we can joke it's about him and, he's going to throw it all away, because he wants to save Padme, but it's done in kind of a juvenile way later on in my mind. But I think in that scene, you get into it. And I love when the Emperor or Palpatine at the time makes reference to Darth Plagueis the Wise, because it opens us up to a big Star Wars universe that in the original trilogy, a lot of that didn't exist yet or hadn't been developed, and so it's not mentioned as much. There's that, you don't get that kind of stuff. Han and the bounty hunter Ord Mantell is like the only reference to things that have happened elsewhere. And this is like,
outside of the frame.
There's a whole thing
where and also like that Palpatine seems actually kind, and you can see the bond between them that we've just been told exists before, and now we got to see it in that scene.
But I never really believed it. I thought it was all part of his manipulative, powers.
It might have been.
Just to be a manipulator with them. And
I think there's some truth in it, but that's partially just what I want to believe.
What a great storyteller he was, though. Like, it was so captivating just listening to that. So, like, imagine Anakin, who's...
I'd be happy with a standalone movie that was just Palpatine tells you stories.
Palpatine reads you
the classics,
And it was
Go the F
It was a great trailer moment, too, because they had that part in the trailer where from a Jedi. It seemed to capture
such
something.
Punch. All
right, you guys did all great job answering those prequel questions. See?
I'm gonna toss one up too.
Toss it.
The scene where Darth Vader is actually born.
Okay.
Because everyone always wondered what was it like. So they showed you, and so you have this broken Anakin, and he was toast.
Yeah.
And then they're just going through all the mechanics and all, and then that last added face mask.
That's and it was a beautiful shot. That shot of it coming down, the smoke kind of lightly. That's
the first breath. That was cool.
That's a great.
That was awesome.
Too.
I wish they had more time, because it's like they threw him on a table and all of a sudden it's like, hey, we got all this really cool equipment just waiting for a quadruple amputee to come in. Like, I wish they would have.
They always knew they were going to get.
I wish they would have. It was just like there was this Darth Vader costume waiting. It's like, it was almost like a RoboCop moment. We finally got a guy that. It's like, I wish they would have explained, but obviously they didn't have time.
But it's a
they could have had time. I wish that Revenge of the Sith made it so that when I see Vader, I know that Anakin's in there. I know that they're the same person, because every time I see Vader, I forget that was Anakin.
Well, we talked about that on previous episodes, and it's why the book Lords of the Sith is so good to me, by Paul S. Kemp, because it gets really into that, where it's the same guy, and he's struggling to remember who he was. He's struggling to try to move past some of the things he is still remembering. And I cannot recommend Lords of the Sith enough because of that stuff. That's a great point. And it made me realize as a fan, I do see him as two different people.
Right.
Vader and Anakin aren't the same to me.
They are different. Well, they're different.
He sees himself as two different people.
Right, and that's how it's played. But even as a fan, I sometimes don't connect them in my brain. And that's a great moment. That's a great scene. Good stuff there. Let's continue. This is going to go into some prequel stuff here, but it also factors even stuff now, and maybe in The Force Awakens. A simple question for you guys. Jedi Knights, Guardians of the Galaxy, or a bunch of assholes? Mark Reilly?
Oh.
You like Luke Skywalker?
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to go... I would never turn to the dark side. I love the Jedi.
You should try it. Feels pretty good.
Yeah. Maud.
Has it been a month? How long have you been Sith?
Yeah,
like a month?
Yeah,
like maybe, yeah.
A month?
14, 15 days.
Is it a 12-step program?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
I mean, I think, in the prequels, they get a bad rap, and especially in Revenge of the Sith or Yoda not knowing what the hell's going on, dark side clouds everything, but they mean well. They do mean well, and there's a reason why Luke is the new hope, to rebuild the Jedi. Then we'll see what happens in Force Awakens. So
it's a good answer, defending your boys.
Yeah,
Frankie,
I'll defend my boys.
Heels or faces, Betty?
I'm gonna say, once Luke's the only remaining Jedi. I say then he truly is a guardian of the galaxy. I think the Jedi were a bunch of assholes to a certain extent. They were very set in their ways. They were very stubborn and stingy. That's why you had rogue Jedi such as Qui-Gon and Dooku. I could get political and talk about the government aspect of it, but I won't. But like you, Luke's my favorite character, and I think that generation of Luke and then on perhaps were Guardians of the Galaxy, and they were doing their job, but it was their way or the highway. And they were kind of jerks. Like we were talking about Mace. I loved him, but he was kind of a jerk. Yeah. And like you said, Yoda was confused the whole time. But and they don't really have any like looking at that council in the first and second movies. There's no one that's really likable. They always kind of look like. It looks like a stuffed shirt, stingy bunch of old men. Just no one's having a good time. It's
a bunch of stockholders.
Yeah, it was just like God. It was
I think the guy with the really long neck's having a pretty good time.
Maybe him. Maybe him. He probably popped a few Quaaludes before the thing, and he's all right. But he was always it looked like watching the Congress meetings. Like just no one looked happy, but. They got an important job, I get it, but I'm going with a bunch of assholes.
Marty G.
It's funny, the Jedi that we connect with the most are the ones that challenge the Order. So there's
correct.
Qui-Gon Jinn. No, I want Anakin. I believe in this. I'm defying your order, and I'm going to pursue this. And you're like, good on you, buddy. And I do think that the more you're told to not do things and the more you are challenged and oppressed within a set of rules turns you into an asshole in a way. And they became righteous with that. Oh, but I am a Jedi and it is my right as a Jedi Knight to solve all these problems by killing a bunch of people. Who really cares about them anyway? And it's like, and when you really think about it, Jedi mind trick is the most effed up thing that you can do to a person. If that,
True.
You take advantage of the weak people.
Weak-minded.
Exactly. And it's like, that's a pretty asshole move when you really think about it. But it is for the greater good,
Oh, this is going on right now.
I think I need to change my answer.
I was saying about the government thing. But
Joseph? This is great stuff.
Like, say, Galaxy of the Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy. I agree with Frankie, and I agree with Maud. The council was a bit higher up, and they're feeling themselves arrogant, I have to say. They were arrogant. So when the Emperor would say that they were a bunch of arrogant, and when I heard that line, I was like, he's right. They are.
Yeah.
And they haven't been smacked in the mouth.
Good old Wampa slap.
Yeah, exactly. Get a Wampa pimp slap. Once that gets, because that's why we like the rebels of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Because you're so
excellent point.
Yeah, you're so constrained with all these like protocols of the Jedi. They're so like tight asses, right? So when you get a Jedi that goes off that path, you're like, okay, I want to follow that guy. He's more interesting.
Yeah.
He's more interesting to follow. So they need a slap in the face to get off their high horses.
By the way, Wampa Pimp Slap would be the great name for an alcoholic beverage. I'll take a Wampa Pimp Slap.
That Joseph wanted.
We'll have that at the club.
Yeah, awesome.
And then I'll chase her with inside the tauntaun.
Yeah. It's all coming together.
Scrimshaw, can you save the Jedis, or where are you coming down on it?
Yeah, I think they're assholes who mean well. I think the Clone Wars fleshes them out great because we get to spend time with them. We get to see their traditions, like some of the episodes where the younglings are going to discover their crystals, and you can see like how they sort of the protocols actually train the young Jedi to be better people. And I when I first saw the prequels, I was like, they should be a little bit more likable. But I'm kind of happy for their story because I think it's that they're set in their ways. They've done things their way forever. One of their things is not attachment, and that's what Luke breaks, and that's what Luke changes. And I think it's a really elegant connection between the prequels in the original trilogy of Luke changing the paradigm that being attached to things is actually going to make you a better person, a better Jedi. a better protector.
Changing the game a little bit.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that answer.
Yep.
I've always argued that they were a bunch of assholes, but meaning well. But I agree. You guys make some great points. Mod's point to the Jedi we love are the ones who are the rebellious ones. That's Quinlan Vos in Dark Disciple. That's all about.
Yeah, but that's leaving out poor Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is our only example of just a good Jedi, where like he doesn't have too deep of attachments, but he does sneak off to the diner and has his weird pal in the diner. You know, he's always good. He gives people warning. He's like, I don't want to fight, but I will cut your arm. Oh, I tried. Okay, I have to cut your arm off. I'm sorry.
Giving you a shot.
Where did it leave him though? How many decades, or was supposed to be like 14 years or so, living on Tatooine
19,
as 19?
Yeah.
In the guise of a hermit.
Yeah.
Like that's corporal punishment.
Yeah.
Think about it.
But he's being a good Jedi. He does what he needs to do.
What he's being told to do.
Yep.
I'd still want to see those adventures. So I've always come down. In the waiting for Attack of the Clones in theaters in 2002, I got an argument with the guys in line saying that the Jedis were the assholes of the galaxy, that they're arrogant, that they just show up at bars, drink, use mind control. Another excellent point, Mon.
Yeah.
But like I think they generally mean well. Just maybe it all the structure of it is collapsing.
Yes.
This is a question Joseph already answered. Scrimshaw already answered. I want the rest of you, and then Joseph can add on anything. We've been asking a lot. It's a popular question. I love to see the responses. Going back to the Phantom Menace, did Qui-Gon Jinn and Shmi Skywalker get it on?
Yes!
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Maud, start us off.
Come on!
Yes?
Speaking as the only woman here in the panel, if I was someone's slave for a very, very long time and I was quite lonely on Tatooine and a man kind of shows a little bit of interest in me remotely and he looks like Liam freaking Neeson, you bet your sweet ass I'm there. Yeah, he got shmeed up.
He got shmeed up.
Can I ask, how old were you when you first saw Phantom Menace?
Thought it was 11, right?
Oh, God.
Okay. So at what point in your Star Wars fandom, like how old were you when it was like, oh, of course they hooked up? When you met Ken?
Yeah.
Okay, and Ken just brought this up immediately?
It was like
hi.
episode 3 or 4.
Would you like to do a Star Wars show?
Yeah.
Did they bang?
And I was like,
Yeah.
my God. He was there the whole time.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's what we do on the show. We expand your horizons of sexual awakenings in Star Wars.
Who banged who
Got a
in
very
Star Wars?
inappropriate joke to make about blowing minds and blowing. Anyway.
Expanding.
But that's it's there. It's there for the taking. Frankie, do you
now
disagree?
are we
Do you think they did?
I'm going to subcategorize this. Are we saying did they hook up, or are we saying did he father Anakin? Because those are two completely
completely different things. I'm just saying
one is ridiculous.
Now
I'm saying when he got there.
Okay, when he got there, or I had thought maybe previously, because he was a bit of a rogue Jedi. I could see him sitting in the cantina getting hammered and like, hey, who's that slave? Like, hey, who's that slave? And starts rapping to her. And
maybe.
So that's why when he goes back, he goes, who's the boy's father? And she goes, I don't know. He's like, oh, thank God. Thank God. That's why he really asked. There was no father. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, okay, well then maybe he's the chosen one. Thank God he's not mine.
Maybe he came up with that to be like, yeah, right. He's the chosen one.
He's the chosen one. That's why he asked.
There is no father.
Right.
He was immaculately conceived.
So, but do you think that said? Are you saying that yes, it happened?
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course. Sure. Absolutely.
Mark Reilly.
Yes, absolutely. You know why? Because to go off of our last conversation, if I go a little bit on the side of the rogue Jedi, bunch of assholes. This was Liam Neeson being a bit of an asshole. Like he's going to take advantage of.
You think he was taking advantage?
I think not like
No, the situation.
He reminds me.
Look, and I agree to Maud's point. She's like, take advantage of me. I'm on Tatooine. This is like mutual. I want this.
I'm going off a little bit of what Maud said, and then Qui-Gon kind of comes off as this guy in high school I was with that like you like this girl, and he would go right by you and just work on this girl all night, and he would end up hooking up with her. I'm like, man, it didn't happen. That's Qui-Gon.
Can I say now?
Yeah.
If we're saying that happened while they were there, how awkward, because like those stone huts, like sound travels, like how awkward could that have been for Anakin?
He's a Jedi. He can make things quiet.
He's a Jedi, so I thought for sure he would be good at certain things, which could have certain people You get what I'm saying.
I'm thinking he'd go, hey, Annie, why don't you go play with Kitster, or whatever his name is.
Turn off 3PO.
And hey, Jar Jar, go to the store with Annie. Here's some money.
Jar Jar's just blathering away. Jar Jar's a great cover.
There's a deleted scene of Jar Jar walking in on that. That's the hilarious joke.
Lisa, naked wrestling. Joseph Alvarez.
Wait. I mean, so like.
Wait. It's probably the most sensible thing you could say.
Right.
No.
Got off the rails now.
Wait, how do you know his orientation anyway?
I don't know.
I could see Qui-Gon experimenting.
He could be the Oberyn of our galaxy here.
He just listens to the living force.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
There's always some tension between those two.
Mm-hmm.
There's that sweet little touch that he puts down, and she's like, "Yep, that's it."
Yeah.
I'm thinking she's been on that desert a long time, and it's Liam Neeson. I mean, come on, the long flowing hair.
That's true.
Yeah, look at her options too. It's not like there's
She ends up with Klieg Lars.
Right.
I mean, come on.
And he's a foot. You look at him. He looks like a foot. Human foot.
So you're saying yes, no?
Yeah.
You're saying so.
No,
all right. Rank these moments in order of importance to the Star Wars saga. Vader turns on the Emperor. Luke rushes to face Vader in Empire. Obi-Wan sacrifices himself to shut down the tractor beam. I'm not saying these are the three most important moments, but they are three key moments. And what do you feel are their order of importance to the saga? Mark Reilly, star of Star Wars in 30 minutes and Star Wars Complete Saga in 60 minutes.
Yes.
You know these stories inside and out.
I do. Well, I would say that number one would have to be Vader turning on the Emperor. Because that's the end. That is that's everything. That's the one. That moment. Boom. Rebels won. Well, I don't know. I guess that's kind of questionable with the Force Awakens coming. I would say number two being Obi-Wan. Vader taking down Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan lets it happen. Therefore, like kind of pushing Luke into his path. Gotcha. And because I think part three being Luke going after and rushing off to face Vader is still a dumb move by him, but but great storytelling.
Gotcha. So, okay, I like that answer.
Yeah.
Joseph Alvarez?
No, Reilly, let me ask you. He sacrificed himself because he saw Luke was going to come to his aid. I
feel like it's and that's what I actually loved about the prequels in Phantom Menace, where Obi-Wan sees Qui-Gon get taken out by Darth Maul. It's kind of like a mirror image
balance.
there,
Parallelism.
Balance. So yeah, I felt like Obi-Wan sacrificed himself. Maybe because Luke was going to come and get in the middle there. So
I always feel, I don't want to jump on your answer, but I always felt Obi-Wan left to go shut down that tractor beam knowing he wasn't coming back.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I absolutely think that.
Like a suicide mission.
Yeah. He knew that was what he was there for.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of like changes it up a little bit. And now that you mentioned the Qui-Gon parallelism, it's like that strike was almost the same as the one Darth Maul got too, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Section there.
Yeah.
But Luke would have definitely been in a big heap of trouble had he made it to Obi-Wan.
I think so.
And Vader would have used him against Obi-Wan, so maybe. I think it was a sacrificial thing.
Okay.
Yeah, this is higher up. So yeah, I'll go with Vader turning, then deactivating the shield.
And then Luke leaving Dagobah early.
Yeah.
To rush Vader.
Order. Yep.
All right, Joseph Scrimshaw.
I think kind of in chronological order. I think Obi-Wan sacrificing himself, he doesn't get the credit he deserves because I think part of it is also the knowing that he had mastered this ability to retain his identity within the Force, knowing that he could keep helping Luke and the Sith wouldn't know anything about it.
Right.
And I think if Obi-Wan hadn't done that, Luke wouldn't have blown up the Death Star. He would have kept his targeting computer on if Obi-Wan hadn't been able to whisper to him.
And would have missed.
Yeah.
Just impacted on the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if he wasn't dead, he'd have that whole time to be able to train him better. And when he just kind of looked at Luke and went, see ya, then Luke had no idea. He thought he abandoned him.
Yeah, but it motivated Luke.
Issues.
Kept making Luke go forward.
But Luke got a nice blanket from Leia afterwards. It was fine.
Yes. And I think Luke going in trying to rescue his friends is part of that arc that I was talking about earlier of Luke putting his friends as important when Obi-Wan as a ghost and Yoda were already telling him, no, just do things our way, even though it didn't work last time and it brought the entire galaxy to its knees. Keep doing things our way.
That's
funny.
Yeah.
That's an excellent point. All right. Frankie, Maude, jump in. What do you?
I say my answer just kind of changed in listening to those really good answers, but I say most important is Obi-Wan sacrificing himself because that sets everything else in motion.
Yeah.
Had he not done that, and Luke just being a greenhorn come running after him, who's to say Vader wouldn't have just killed him right then? Then 2 and 3 would not have happened. There would be no leaving Dagobah to go face Vader, and there would be no Vader turning, perhaps. So I would say in order of importance, it would be Obi-Wan, then Vader turning on the Emperor, and then Luke leaving.
Excellent answers.
Look, guys, how long was Obi-Wan and Luke actually together? Because there was
20 minutes?
Yeah, we're going by time of movie or by actual...
Yeah,
it's pretty fast. It's pretty fast.
It's a good question. That's a good question.
20 minutes?
A plot hole indeed.
I'll have to go back to that.
We'll get back to it.
Right. Good answers. Maude, closest up on this one.
The most important thing is Vader finding the light before he passes. That had to happen. That is the closure of the movie. This is the fact that Luke his whole time was fighting for the goodness within his father. I know it's there. And then we saw it. I mean, what if that didn't happen? Then Vader would have just seen the Emperor fry his son, and then what?
Yeah.
Luke's dead? Ugh.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing. Non-negotiable. You're all wrong.
No, I think George.
It would have been a darker movie.
What a different ending.
I think he mentioned that the journey was about.
About Anakin. About Anakin.
The prequels is all about Vader. So the fact that it turned right at the very end made the prequels worth it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's saying something.
Look, that's my number one moment. I'm not going to argue with you or not going to fight with you on that. Maybe a lightsaber battle with your Darth Vader Sith lightsaber. It looked great in the video.
Beautiful.
Looked great.
How enticing and for both.
So beyond that, do you think what Luke rushing to face Vader, Obi-Wan sacrifices himself? What's the next?
Obi-Wan and then Luke rushing to Vader.
Good. That's my order as well. Vader is the most key moment, but Obi-Wan, I agree with you. Obi-Wan doesn't get a lot of credit for a lot of the things he did, and he only had Luke to train for like 5 minutes on an afternoon lunch break, and look what he accomplished. Final question of these bonus questions. You guys have been great with these answers, in-depth Star Wars answers, which is what I've loved doing on this show over the last year. If you could have been in the room while Lucas was writing the prequels, and you could have convinced him to change one thing, what would it be? Joseph Scrimshaw?
Yeah, I'll start. There are plenty of obvious things. There are plenty of problems with the prequels, and and I do like them, but I also just get tired of ganging up on the easy moments of clear, there's something weird there in the prequels. The thing that I would most like to adjust is the timeline of Revenge of the Sith, because I would have liked to have spent a little bit more time with Anakin's transition, and I would have liked to have spent a little time with Vader on his feet. And I would have liked to just kind of get in there and fix that timeline a little bit, so there's a longer space between the original trilogy and the prequels, and also some time for Obi-Wan to really try to believe that he can turn Anakin back. So that has weight in A New Hope, that we see Vader kill some Jedi, we see him really get into like, I feel all the power of this evil, and Obi-Wan tries to get him back and he can't.
Absolutely. Alvarez?
No, the obvious is we don't need Jar Jar at all.
That's the elephant in the room.
Might as well just go ahead and put it out there.
We've established that we need him to distract Anakin so that Qui-Gon and Shmi can make love.
We don't need that. I would like...
Right. There was this...
We need it.
We discovered Jar Jar's purpose on this show. We've made history.
We don't need that. No. But what was the... I would have loved to have seen more of his Anakin's transition into the academy, being that he was like the outcast and he was too old.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what that was like.
That's interesting, yeah. So you're talking at the end of Phantom Menace, between a Menace and Attack of the
Clones.
And
the way the Emperor was like, I will be watching your career closely. But
a wink. All right, good. Maude Garrett?
I still think that if they didn't kill Darth Maul in that first battle, you could have had a great villain, a threatening villain who was one of the best assassins in the galaxy chasing Obi-Wan. And I think that would have provided a lot more pressure. Like, imagine going to Camino knowing that Maul's going after you.
Yeah.
Like the stakes would have been raised.
I never really thought about what you said. You said it earlier. Now you're reiterating it here. Is Maul chasing you through the galaxy, kind of like the Nazgul here, just a one-man Nazgul team. That would have been a good present menace, not a phantom one.
They screwed up because the Clone Wars was like, oh, by the way, even though it was cut in half, he's back. It's like, well, you didn't have to mess it up in the first place.
Okay. I'm sure George would have listened. Frankie?
If I could have convinced him to change one thing, it would have been to, in episode 1, have them meet Anakin as a teenage hotshot pilot in the academy already as a 17, 18, 19-year-old. I think that would have really changed just the weight of the entire 3 movies.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been cutesy based around a kid. And I get what George was going for, but
sure.
I don't think I think our generation especially.
Sure.
I'm speaking for our generation.
I think Jake Lloyd would agree with you.
Poor guy.
I just think it would have really changed the focus of the story. And that's obviously, one of the huge criticisms is Jake Lloyd and it being a 9-year-old boy. And just I think if they had, discovered Anakin as that hotshot pilot, but there was something to him, and it really would have given a lot more gravity, no pun intended, to especially the first movie.
Yeah.
And just who knows, and it could have, that way we didn't have to worry about him as a kid. We already established him as an adult, which would have in turn gave us room in episode 3 to focus on him becoming Vader maybe sooner, and then Ben struggling to turn him back. It would have switched the entire attitude of the prequels.
Totally agree. Reilly, where you come down on that?
These two here on the couch took my those are mine, like keeping Darth Maul as the main baddie through the whole 3 movies, and then dealing with Anakin.
Does that mean we wouldn't have had to have had General Grievous?
Yeah, I think General Grievous is pretty awful as a villain. I do not like him. And I would say if you get rid of him, I mean, Darth Maul, he just had that look. He was instantly iconic, I would say.
That was the best design, like I said earlier.
Best design, the double lightsaber. I mean, come on. So I would have loved to see him be the villain. And then, like you said, like starting and meeting Anakin older, I think would have changed just all 3 of these movies in a great way. But since they were taken, I want to throw one out there.
Okay.
Having Padme hang out with Luke and Leia as little kids longer. So that Leia could have that memory, and we, the audience, go, got it.
Got it. Good.
Yeah.
Which is what we're going to be talking about next. For me,
that's funny.
For me, the one thing I always wanted George to do was just get to the Clone Wars faster, see more Clone Wars on screen. We did see what the animated series is, but see it on screen, and then spend more time with Hayden in the Vader.
Yes.
I wanted to see that struggle, not just no, and then folding his arms while he's looking at the Death Star being built. Like I wanted to see more of that. Didn't get it. I like the end of Sith. Sith, I think, is the one I like more than any of the prequels. I think that's generally the answer for everybody.
Sure.
Those last 30-40 minutes, the scene with you with the Jews, all that stuff works for me. I just could have gotten that earlier, maybe at the end of 2, and then had all the 3 being Vader being the baddie in the galaxy.
Yeah.
That's what I would have, that. I'm sure George would have listened. But we still love everything you put out in the universe, George. I liked seeing sometimes the prequel episode we had, a lot of people finally coming around going, hey, you know what? George is George. He gave us this universe, this criticisms of Jar Jar or I hate sand and all that stuff, valid as it may be.
But it gets everywhere.
It does get everywhere. That's just a fact. So as we head into overtime here in this final episode for me on Jedi Alliance, Jedi Alliance will go on, but we did want to talk about Star Wars plot holes, and we got a couple to discuss here in the time we have remaining. This started because Frankie, you and I were tweeting back and forth and then texting.
I sent out a tweet months ago. I was just rewatching all the movies as I do.
Sure.
And just at the very end when it's have the protocol droid's mind erased, I'm just like, why did they even introduce it? Like, I get it. Like they wanted those 2 to be the constant in the entire series, which is cool. And I love R2.
All 9 movies, right?
I love R2, and to a lesser extent, I like C-3PO. But I was just
tolerate C-3PO.
Yeah, and so I sent out a tweet and got a lot of response. And Ken texted me. He's like, "Hey, I have a show where you can talk about just the same." So that was always one of them. And I don't like plot holes to have a negative connotation to it because we're here to celebrate.
It's part of the fun, though, of being a Star Wars fan is going, didn't you think it was kind of weird? Because we've all had those discussions.
Exactly. Like, for example, in watching Episode 4, and when Lars, Uncle Owen goes, and him and Luke go and get the droids, and here's C-3PO, a droid that introduces himself ad nauseum to everybody and everything he meets. Right. Like, probably 35 times throughout the entire run of the movies.
That's a survival technique, though.
Uncle Owen doesn't recognize that, I owned a... my dad
I got an easy answer for this one.
He was lead then, right?
Yeah, he was a slightly different color.
He wasn't gold.
I don't think he ever liked C-3PO. I don't think he listened to them. I think he's had 28 other protocol droids. I think it's sort of going to be like if 20 years later we see our first smartphone. Was that one mine?
Okay,
I don't know.
That's a good ad.
And I think he's a drunk. Honestly,
I think he's absolutely.
I think he put something in the blue milk. I think he has no patience for the life he has picked for himself. Clearly, it's like, he could care less.
And like I said, a lot of these plot holes have only come to because of the prequels.
Yeah.
Like we just said about Leia.
Absolutely.
Do you remember your mother? And
yeah, she do.
Yeah, she's very beautiful.
Donica, you got something in the booth?
I'm sad.
Once they interviewed the prequels, I figured she was just talking about Queen Bria from Alderaan. It was just a miscommunication because Luke didn't know that she was adopted. Thought that she just grew up with their mom.
Right. Okay.
That's excusing poor script writing. That's what that is. Clutching for a reason for it to make sense.
Yeah. That was. I think that's the biggest one. It was even brought up in the canon panel at Star Wars Celebrations by an audience member. Are you ever going to correct that? Are they ever going to correct the Return of the Jedi novel, which has Obi-Wan naming Owen as his brother, and they said, no, we're not going to do that. But again, to your point, Frankie, this is part of the fun of being a Star Wars fan. We were all at lunch talking about the age
of Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan at the end of Revenge of the Sith, he goes into hiding. At the beginning of A New Hope, just 19 years later, he's aged 30 years. Is it the twin sons? What is it?
It must have been the sons, man. I think it's the sons.
And the sand that gets everywhere.
Moisture farming, so it's just farmed the moisture out
makes
of it.
your skin like leather.
Because even Uncle Owen, he's gone from Edgerton to
shambles.
Yeah. Well, maybe a year in Star Wars is actually much longer than a year here on Earth. Maybe. And that would take care of a lot of things.
Maybe there's no true timeline.
So Luke is actually 19 in New Hope?
That's what
19.
Believed.
Yeah, 19. So it's a 19-year gap. Which I also argue one of the plot holes, and I know people say, well, the Emperor and the Empire has erased all the history books, but in 19 years, you're telling me that no one really remembers the Clone Wars. It's this ancient thing. Like, remember the Revolutionary War? Oh yeah, that's like 500 years ago.
Yeah.
19 years ago. Like you remember Joshua Tree album? Yeah, that was 28 years ago. I remember that pretty clearly.
No, I've never seen anything across this whole galaxy that makes me believe in the Joshua Tree. It's an album.
How long is Jedi training between New Hope and
Empire?
Yeah, because he was having training, right? So it was like, and I'm thinking about the.
Well, that brings up the dual timelines plot hole about Luke on Dagobah and the Millennium Falcon being chased.
Yeah, in Empire Strikes Back, somebody pointed that out to me like 10 years ago, and and I've been making up my own little solutions ever since.
What's the solution that you got here?
Well, it's not a great solution. I think that the Millennium Falcon was parked in a space slug for about a week.
Okay.
For tensions to simmer between Han and Leia. And I mean, I think what Lucas always says is that part of the point of Luke is he is even more powerful than Anakin, and Anakin was the most powerful Jedi ever, and he picks it up amazingly fast.
Sure.
And it's incredibly advanced. But still, it's kind of a testament to the film that you don't think about that Han and Leia and company are being chased, about to die constantly, and Luke's just like, let me learn about Zen. It's
doing
very
yoga
contrasting.
on a swamp planet.
And then he's got to go, and then in a couple days, he's like, I gotta go save my friends.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird though, because he's trying to lift up this rock with the Yoda training on Dagobah, and yet in the Clone Wars, you see babies just sitting there doing like their own little
He's an infant in the Force.
Yeah. So it's like, how could he be?
So
better
how much
in
time?
3 days.
I think that he has more raw talent, but he's super impatient.
Yeah.
I'll buy that.
I'm not going to lose sleep.
We can agree to disagree, Maude. That's just fine. But yeah, but that I like it like that.
How much time between Empire and then Return of the Jedi?
But I mean, think of it.
Yeah. He becomes, even in the crawl in Return of the Jedi, he is now a Jedi.
It was the correspondence course of Jedi. I know.
Right, because he doesn't go back.
A couple weekend follow-ups.
But I think of him as like a musical prodigy or somebody who just like he has that talent, but he really wants to go forward. Like, I never thought I was going to play saxophone, and I know my dad's a great saxophone player, and like, but I'm just really impatient. Like I don't want to learn where to put my fingers. But as soon as I do, holy crap.
Yeah.
Now, what do they say? It's like a year roughly between Empire and Jedi.
Yeah.
Is that what I've heard? Like,
and I think it's
changed a couple times. I think
between A New Hope and Empire, roughly.
Right. And then,
someone correct us on that. I know the show's not live today, but
I think sometimes it has been said that it was 6 months. I think during the Shadow of the Empire big movement, I think it was said that it was 6 months between Empire and
He's
Jedi.
a prodigy.
Yeah.
So whatever the curriculum is, it's going to be half that or even a quarter of that.
You're going to speed it up.
Yeah. He's a prodigy. We get that.
Yeah, it's like how long was Han in Jabba's palace and everything? I don't know. That's not really answered clear. Any more major?
Well, how many months until you get the hibernation?
And carbonite?
The hibernation.
How long can you survive in carbonite?
Yeah.
Right.
Here's a question for all the Boba Fett fans out there, especially the ones that are upset that he died. Like, I like Boba Fett, but I'm not a. I could care.
Django, right?
I hear he's a popular character.
Yeah, I've heard that same thing. He looks cool, but aside from that, I never bought in.
Yeah. Right.
Why was he still hanging out at Jabba's palace? Like, he got his money, but he got paid. Was he just like,
retainer.
I thought he was just like, I'm gonna just party at Jabba's palace.
I think that's what it is. I think that's one of my only the additions to Special Edition that I like is where you clearly see Boba Fett just flirting with one of the dancers, and it makes it just seem like he's like, oh man, I made such big money.
He's just gonna
getting Han Solo and just like.
I hate
But
that part.
that would have to be the answer, because again, he brings Han over there. 6 months, a year prior.
He got paid. Why is he not just?
He could have been stopping back after another job too.
Can I throw one out there?
Yeah.
All right. So he has this innate hatred of Jedi.
Yeah.
And he hears that Han's friend is quite possibly could be a Jedi.
Nice.
And he's just waiting out for him.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
All right.
I like that.
Biding his time.
That's a good
And in the
plot hole, Phil.
meantime, he's gonna flirt with chicks and party
with the green chicks,
Salacious
and
Crumb,
with the two horns.
He's gonna
Gotcha.
smoke some
Drink late at night with the Rancor Keeper. Yeah.
He just cries.
I think so.
Cries all night there.
So we have the timeline. We got that.
Yeah.
And the training with the
training.
Okay.
The droids.
The droids. Still. I mean, so how come R2 can't have a conversation with C3PO? You know, that guy.
I think it goes to, that's an excellent point. I think just R2, he's just the only one in the galaxy that can keep a secret. He's the only one who's just kind of like,
I think he's like your drinking buddy where, like, you know, you go out with your drinking buddy and you tell him all your problems, and your drinking buddy can be like, well, I can intervene, or I can just sit back and let other people work it out.
That.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, if Facebook were like in the Star Wars galaxy, R2 would be the only person without a Facebook account.
Yeah,
like, everyone else has to put their business out there for the whole world to see. R2's just like, whatever,
man.
Yeah.
I tried Friendster once and I didn't like it. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm about to tell you what.
I'm good.
You gotta get this. So what other plot holes do we have?
Mark Reilly, what's the one that eats at you all these years?
Well, I don't know if it's a plot hole. It just I was wondering about it with you fine folks at lunch. In Empire, after they escape Hoth, why does everybody focus on Han and Leia and Chewie and the Millennium Falcon, and Luke just takes off and
gets
no
out
worries?
free,
He's like, and he's like shooting the shit with R2 in that moment. He's like, no,
minimal hand
R2?
maintenance too.
Yeah, he's like, no, we're
just
going
put the glove on and it's fixed, right?
So I was always wondering if Vader really wants to find Skywalker, especially in Empire. He takes off from Hoth and no one's there after him. He's just by himself. So I always wondered.
Good point.
Just wondered.
Plot filling device on that one is the whole device filling is, Frankie, what? Just a different side of the planet?
Different side of the planet.
I would guess
that's
so.
how I made it.
I had
made
never
a
really
left.
And they focused all their firepower just on
Luke
Han.
Luke, I guess, had ways. You know, he punched it in different, and ways gave him that little back route. And
I mean, I think the X-wings were parked somewhere different for the fighters who are in the snowspeeders to get to their X-wings. I mean, that seems kind of like explicit in the movie.
This is how geeky I am, because he actually sees Han, the Falcon fly over, and then he gets in, and me as that kid were always like, well, he just watched Han go that way and he went that way too. Why is this happening? So I don't know.
Yeah. Your whole childhood has been ruined by this.
Absolutely.
Why didn't the Empire go after the X-Wing?
It was a breakthrough in therapy. This was the moment.
Well, explain to me with fashion. All right, you have the Jedi's fascination with what was it? Tan, white, and brown.
Sure.
And then Anakin comes in and goes with the rebel, right? Just the dark, the black. So, what was the fixation with the color scheme with the Jedi's?
I don't know, and that's a good question. I think we've asked it here on the show before. Is at the beginning of New Hope, as a kid, I always just assumed Obi-Wan was dressing in the local Tatooine fashion.
Yeah.
Turns out, no, he's wearing the same clothes that he went into hiding.
For 19 years.
Not smart.
He likes clothes that breathe.
He's supposed to blend in, right? He's supposed to blend in. He's supposed to wear the stuff that everyone else wears.
19 years later, someone should have been like, hey, didn't Jedis used to wear that? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's why he got Uncle Owen to wear basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So if anybody came looking, they'd kill Uncle Owen.
That's why I thought it was Tatooine fashion.
The Tusken Raiders dress like that too. So yeah, it's all
right.
It's all the rave in the
I'm going to change my previous answer. I would love to own, if I could have a job in the galaxy, I want to own a brown robe and beige top store on Tatooine because I would make a lot of money.
Just down there at Mos Espa.
Yeah.
Come in for your beige tops.
I'd have big and tall sizes. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I think they're kind of one size fits all.
Well, I think we could go on and on and on about Star Wars plots, but it's fun to have a little roundtable discussion here in my final show because that's what the part of the fun of being a Star Wars fan is just simply talking about the funny things of this universe that we love. It's like you say, Joseph, it's one great movie and a good one, and then a lot of other things we're trying to accept the love, but that's part of what being a Star Wars fan.
Like Frankie said, it's a celebration, man.
Absolutely.
And we're celebrating you, Ken. Thank you so much.
No, we're celebrating Jabba. That's what we're doing here today. It's all
That's
Jabba.
A new drink, too. That should be a drink.
Celebrating Jabba?
Give me some Jabba.
Jabba.
So this is now our final duel of the fates, but first we'll take...
Twice in one episode.
Come on.
Get your Jedi-gasm going. Your dual-gasm. Last week, we asked this question, and it got a great group response. We asked, what is your favorite Princess Leia moment? Was it when she killed Jabba the Hutt, when she rescued Han from the Carbonite, or when she put the stolen Star Wars plans into R2? That one we could pretty much all agree is the most important one, but what was your favorite one? The fans out there, you as always responded quite well, and it was very close and split. Jabba won 22 votes, Han 16, saving Han, and the Death Star plan 6, so like I said, everyone kind of agreed that's important. But we got a lot of people with some write-in votes, and Jason Kevin Thomas says, as much as I like those moments, I would say my favorite Princess Leia moment is when she senses Luke is in mortal danger and makes Lando turn the Falcon around to save him. In a way, it foreshadows the sibling force connection we learned about in Return of the Jedi, and of course, saving Luke is the key to defeating Vader and Emperor. That got 15 likes, and a lot of other people followed up with, that moment too. Patrick Barbin says, best Leia moment? Her song in the holiday special. One vote for that. George McCann said, honestly, the I know moment between her and Han is my favorite of both of theirs. You need both of them for that scene, and it works wonderfully. Both Fisher and Ford are perfect within those character moments, and I feel that the scene in many ways defines both Han and Leia, so I go with I know from Empire because it is on-screen perfection. Great answers all the way around. Quickly around the room, where do you guys come in there from those moments or throw in another one? Joseph?
I like the flipped I love you, I know moment because it's based on her being really proactive with a little look down to her blaster.
Yes.
Of like, I'm going to kill a dude. And he's like, I love you. I know.
Yeah. Boom. Joseph Alvarez.
The Josephs, they stick together. We're going with that. I would like to ask of the fans out there, would you make out to this song, this music that's playing? Would you make out to that?
Yes.
Yes.
Hell yes.
Would you or have you?
Mod does it today, and no one has to be in the room. It's the dual-gasm. Come on.
Hey.
Yeah.
Just had like an epiphany.
Yeah.
Leia killing Jabba, that has to have some sort of repercussion because he was the head of basically the gang controlling all of Tatooine.
Right.
So, and when she becomes a diplomat, because the Hutts have never fallen into any kind of sway in the Empire.
Jurisdiction or anything.
So, what kind of repercussion are we going to have
point.
with
Yeah,
Leia
that's really cool.
killing the head Hutt?
Changes the course of events
I like
on
that.
Tatooine.
I like that.
That's right.
That's very good.
Also, because we heard rumored that she was shooting with so many Hutts. Remember how they
Yes.
made replicas, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of them, and I think that there's going to be some
Could
sort
be.
of Hutt council, and they're going. They're
nice.
either going to say, "Leia, we got to kill you," or they're going to say, "Thank you, he was a twat." So
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Now, is that your favorite moment?
Yeah.
That is, hands down.
I mean, she did it in great looking attire.
But it was kind of revenge for that. It was revenge for her slave costume.
The
It was
fact that-
revenge
yeah.
for it all.
A little
It was-
S&M-ish.
it was her. It
the
was her.
significance that he chained her, and with
Yeah.
that chain, she
Right.
killed
Look,
him.
I love how
It's a
she
deep,
gets that.
it's a
that
deep
deepness
moment.
with that.
It's a deep moment. I
But
actually think
also
it is.
for coining scruffy-looking nerf herder, like that's great.
Yeah.
A lot of people
That's
wrote
a
in
good
as,
one.
as that as well. And someone get this walking carpet out of my wife, Frankie. Of those
It's hard to
moments?
argue with her killing Jabba because
Yeah.
that, and you just, brought some more importance to that event happening. But I dug the way she just infiltrated Jabba's palace as a bounty hunter and rescued Han. I always thought that was slick.
Bush, bosh,
that
boosh.
got me.
Yeah.
That was the first. That was the first Star Wars I thought I saw in a theater, and it was the first movie I remember seeing in a theater. And I just remember thinking that was so slick. Like, oh my god, that's a girl.
Yeah.
Like that badass bounty hunter that just held up Jabba. Like that was Leia. Like I just remember thinking that was sweet. So that was always my favorite.
And a lot
Leia
of people
moment.
wrote in that moment
Yeah.
too, and the courage it took to go in and hold that thermal
That's a
detonator.
girl's world moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great moment for Leia and Mark Reilly.
No, I would go with the fan write-in because I get chills even to this day when Luke says, "Leia, hear me."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Look, I mean, ooh."
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
the chills just
Nerd
now.
chill.
I did too.
Nerd chills.
I mean, 'cause it's really great because of that moment.
Yeah.
The stakes involved, and then the
The
foreshadowing for
whole
Return of the
third
Jedi.
act of that movie is chill.
Carrie Fisher's
Yeah.
face sells it so well.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Isn't she great? I mean,
Yeah.
that's where that was my first crush, was Empire Strikes Back Leia. I mean, just fell head over heels in love with her.
Absolutely.
So anything in that movie.
Absolutely. All right, good answers. I went with the Jabba moment myself, and like I said, so did the fans, but it was split. You guys had a lot of bonus stuff in there. So for the final Duel of the Fates, which was, the Star Wars debate shows, there's the great ones out there. Check out James Arnold Taylor's show on the Comlink for a certain point of view. It's a good show too. It's a staple of any Star Wars podcast, this versus that. But when Maud and I created this back in July, we said we got to have a segment where we can really have fun, and we have had over 49 Duel of the Fates.
Wow.
Including the figure fights episodes and all that kind of stuff. And then we struggled for that answer. Remember, we couldn't come up with a name for a while during that little session, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, it's the Duel of the Fates. And then the music started playing in your head. So the final one I want to ask you guys, it is a little bit of a leading question, but I want to see, this is the way I want it to end.
The answer is yes.
On December 18th, 2015, will you be happy or disappointed with The Force Awakens? Maud says
Happy.
yes.
Happy.
Around the room, I go yes.
Yes, even if there are parts that are bad, I will enjoy those too.
Oh, of course, yes.
Absolutely.
That's a big yes. Big yes.
Yes, I was happy when Phantom Menace came out, even though it was what it was.
Yeah.
Just knowing that I went as an young adult at that time, and watched the Star Wars movie in the theater.
Yeah.
I was happy. And this one, everything indicates that it is going to be killer.
It is looking
So,
good.
I'm psyched.
Back
Absolutely.
to practical effects, you've got JJ Manning the Helm, who's a huge fan.
Lens flare. Yeah.
They're paying homage to the original trilogy. It's
A new
casting
friggin' Star Wars movie is going to be in the theaters. That's all
there.
you have to say.
Yeah.
We're there.
It's
so happy.
You're gonna cry, aren't you?
Oh,
Right in the theater.
yeah.
Right in the theater. I'll be there with
Yes.
you. I'll be there with you. And if Han Solo goes, someone's gonna have to walk me out of the theater.
Oh yeah, I think they're gonna lay tarp down. If they know ahead of time that Han Solo dies, there will be tarp in all of the theaters for the tears of the geeks.
Absolutely. Well,
Tears of the geeks.
2015 is quite a year to be a Star Wars fan. 2014, 13. It's been a great time the last couple of years being a Star Wars fan. So that is why it was such a thrill to be able to do a Star Wars show, and to be able to do it for so long with a wonderful co-host and co-creator, Maud Garrett. Though you left for bigger and better things, and we carried on.
Yeah.
And we carried on. It was such a pleasure to do this side by side with you, and it means a lot.
29 episodes.
29 fun episodes.
Yeah.
And I still get people writing me, "You're not as good as Maud. Where's Maud? Where's Maud? Where's Maud?" But that was I couldn't have done this without you, and I think everyone knows that, and I think you know that, but I want everyone to really be aware of how much this show was you, and of you and from you. And that first night we sat around like, hey, let's get to know each other and talk about Star Wars, and we came up with all the stuff. Though I defeated you in Star Paws, it was I
still play it.
Close.
I have them just sitting there, and every now and then I'll just flick me a card and be like, come on. Still.
Absolutely.
Ken, once I want to thank you as a fan for doing what you did, and you, Mod, because it was listening to this podcast, and I went, wow, there's a podcast all about Star Wars. And hearing you talk about pro wrestling and reaching out to you and realizing that our paths had crossed years ago was like, wow. And then being a frequent contributor and guest on the show. So thank you for doing what you did. You did it wonderfully. You're a great host, as were you. And I had a blast every time I came on the show. So thanks for doing what you do on behalf of the Star Wars Nerd Geek Nation around the world, man.
It means a lot, Frankie. It means a lot, Frankie. Thank you. And you survived the Mod Garrett water throw.
I did. The Mod Garrett meltdown. The MGM, the old MGM.
Yeah, I can see a little slow motion montage of Ken and Mod.
It's playing right now somewhere.
As long as there's like swipes.
Joseph, we met through another line of work, but are connected by our love of this franchise.
And the Y-Wing.
And the love of the Y-Wings. Team Y-Wing right there. Joseph Alvarez. It's been great to get to know you even more outside of our other lines of work here, and you're such a knowledgeable, passionate Star Wars fan, too.
And thanks for bringing in light the diversity that's going on in sci-fi. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Joseph Scrimshaw, I got to meet you at Kamikaze, and we've grown into great friends simply because you've taught me to love the prequels a little bit.
And me. That opened my eyes, that episode.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. That was a ton of fun. Yeah. And Ken, you are a great guy and an amazing host. It is so cool to be on a podcast or anything where you just don't have to worry. I never worry about, like, are the wheels going to come off this thing that I'm guesting on? Because I know you have it, and that is a really, really amazing skill.
Thank you, my friend. And I know you're not done talking Star Wars at all. And Mark Reilly, my compadre from Schmoes Know.
Mr. Napzok.
We became friends simply because your excellent performance as the Emperor in Star Wars in 30 minutes.
I appreciate that. I'm sad to see you go, but I know it's bigger and better things.
This gets better and better.
Look at this. Stephen Lemieux is actually... It's getting Hoth in here. So Hoth. We'll miss you, Ken. Thank you. And I do want to thank Stephen, Phil, Kevin, Maria, Roxy Stryer, one of my favorite humans in the world, and your Hayden Christensen argument will hit the airwaves again some way. We'll edit that and get that out there. You guys do so much great work here at AfterBuzz, Popcorn Talk, and all the things you guys do, and you put a lot of work into this. You guys out there watching live every week and watching on tape delay and listening to the podcast do not understand the hard work that these guys do to run this network, to run it on a daily 24-hour-a-day basis, and when some idiot host puts the word Lego in some title and shuts down everything, they are working hard to correct it. It has been fun. My work here is not done on Schmoes Know, and I cannot announce where my next job is. That is unfortunately taking me away from this, but you'll be hearing soon enough. If you want to listen to me talk about Star Wars, you can still do that on Spotlight Star Wars, which is on the Napzok Files podcast feed. I'll be rambling about Star Wars there, and do me a favor, follow Jedi Alliance. Keep it going. The show's not ending. People tweeted that into me. This is the last episode of Jedi Alliance. It is not the last episode of Jedi Alliance. There will be a lot of stuff going on here. I know Mark Donica's in the booth. You're going to be doing some talking about Star Wars here next week.
Damn right I am.
Absolutely. And talking all about Star Tours. I'm sure you are.
Don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
On that note, this has been a fun year of my life talking about Star Wars. The little nerd grew up to get the job he always wanted. I'll see you next time. May the Force be with you. Many Bothans died to bring you this show.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.